morning and welcome to Ways Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying this beautiful Tuesday morning? This table has one sole mission to amplify the voices of the young towards pressing national and global concerns. It's my absolute pleasure again today to anchor today's segment. My name is Oluchi Precious Omink and I've been joined by the Lady Vibe herself, Gosriti Israel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lady on blue.
Yes, yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy New Month to you.
Happy New Month. You know, I really wish I could make it yesterday, but something beyond my control happened and I couldn't be on set yesterday.
I can understand.
I'm happy to be here. This month is very special to me, God's beauty.
Tell me why.
So, you know, recently I've started learning how to appreciate certain milestones. I mean, thanks to our 6K subscribers plus, I really loved how we're appreciating every milestone as regards our subscribers on YouTube. And then I just had to think that this June, precisely tomorrow, Wednesday, is going to be my 1-year anniversary at Upgrade TV. So that's a milestone to celebrate, and that's something I'm very excited about. It's been 1 year of a lot of things. I mean, honestly, I've got to learn on the job. I've had to be spontaneous. I've had to, you know, have good moments, good comments, criticisms as well. Learned, understood different kinds of things, and I'm just so excited that I started this journey a year ago when I was on campus trying to do my project and exams, and here we are today. So, God's beauty, how do you feel about milestones? Tell me one major milestone that is happening to you.
One major milestone. So, I think for me, I've always learned to celebrate every day as it comes, to be honest. So I really don't, you know, pick any day to say, oh, this is supposed to be a special moment. Because like I said, I take every moment to appreciate, you know, what exactly is happening in my life. I mean, I don't know how it is, but you know how I, you know, added this year, beginning of the year, you know, the attitude for every moment is gratitude. So, yeah, so because of that, I'm always grateful. I'm always excited about whatever it is, really. Small wins, big wins, medium wins, whatever win it is, every win is a win, exactly. So, yeah, so I don't think there's anyone really special. I'm just excited that, you know, I can see self-growth personally, right? You know, even work-wise, because having to get, you know, I mean, I think I started off this year with, I mean, apart from like the clients I had from last year's, you know, previously due to like script writing and all, started this year with one new client added, and right now I can say I have 2, 3 down with me that I'm working with. So it's something to be happy about, but like I said, for me, every moment actually counts, because for every time that I'm opening my phone to say something, there's either someone saying, Goswiti, I saw you here, Goswiti, you're doing this, I see that, there are referrals, and also, I mean, it's a lot to be grateful for. So that's why I'm not going to pick any special moment, because I feel like every moment is precious and it's something that I'm really, really grateful for. Yeah.
A big special moment, because I feel like they are reminders of how far you've come.
Oh, of course,
because many times you can just be with the flow, we're just doing things, going with the moment. But special milestones, for example, this July is going to be my 25th birthday.
Oh,
that's
love.
A special milestone, and I will make noise about it, because that's Silver Jubilee. It reminds me of how far I've come. Not that my 24th wasn't amazing, or my 23rd, or my 26th won't be amazing, but 25, there's something special about it. That's why, so just stay with us, you know, right here on Ways Breakfast. We have amazing content that will be reading out every day of the week. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll look through the papers today, the local papers and, of course, the international papers. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back. Please let us know your thoughts on these historical milestones. We'd love to hear your insight and perspective to everything that we will out to you. Remember, you're the main ingredient in all of our conversation. Our phone lines are open. Call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you are not part of the movement because there's a movement happening right now. So head on to our official Upgrade TV, click that subscribe button, like, share the link, tune into channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything. We're going to be looking through the papers this morning. We've got some interesting headlines across the Punch, the Guardian, and of course the International Guardian. So let's start with God's beauty on that.
Let me get you guys to the International Guardian newspaper. And at the top left, we have Poland's presidential election result as morale boost for MAGA forces in Europe, and this from Catherine Delveris. And by the top right, we have Israeli strikes on Gaza schools used as civilian shelters, a part of deliberate strategy, says sources. And at the main center headline, we have Philadelphia paper wants Farterman to take Senate job seriously or step away. So that's the headline I'll be talking on. And it says the Philadelphia Inquirer editorial board has issued a sharp public critique of Senator John Farterman, urging him to take his role in the United States Senate more seriously or resign. The board cites frequent absence from Senate duties and public disengagement. So I love this so much. You know why? Because we have a body that, I mean, this Philadelphia Inquirer editorial board is a body that consists of senior journalists and some news editors, right? But then they don't have like newspapers. They don't bring newspapers out. But what they do instead is comment on political things, you know, political issues that's going on in the country. And I think we somehow have things like that here. Just that we don't have a body, but instead we just have like each individuals come out to say what they think about the current administration, you know, the National Assembly, the judiciary system here in Nigeria, right? They don't have a body, unlike the United States where there's a body that, you know, takes care of that. So imagine this Senator John. He has not been fulfilling, according to the board, right? He has been absent from his Senate duties and even some public engagements, you don't find him there. And you see them calling him out to say, okay, what's going on? If you know that you're not ready for this job, just resign. You know, unlike here in Nigeria where we have whistleblowers, at the end of the day, you see that there's definitely something going down with the person. We've had the likes of the NYC girl that came out earlier to, you know, talk about certain things about what she thinks about the current administration. At the end of the day, you see what went down. So many other persons like that have come out, you know, be it social media, be it physically, to talk about what's going on and how how they're perceiving the current administration. At the end of the day, you see that they are always shut up, right? But look at this particular body. They come out, and even the Senate, the guy in question, that's the Senate, Senator John, he even also had to state his reasons why he has been absent. And to be honest, I'm not saying that the United States is, you know, one of the best countries when it comes to, they also have their own flaws. We know that. But then it's important that, you know, you see things like this happen. I mean, they're one of the countries I've seen their judiciary always have a take when their executive arm is, you know, going astray or doing something that's not right. You always see the judiciary or the legislative come out to, you know, condemn such actions. And see a body now coming, I mean, I think first of all, we should have a body like this here in Nigeria, even though it's not backed by the Constitution, but the fact that it's recognized to, comment on anything that is political, and it's not, whenever they talk about things, most of the times, of course, it can be that, you know, for some political reasons, it might be someone telling them to, but then the fact that they come out to, you know, say what it is, and people actually recognizes it, that, oh, what this body is saying is true, and, you know, before you would see things come to play. The fact that the senator had to even, state out his own reason why he has not been present in the, House of Senate, I think it's a beautiful thing, really. And I think this is something that I want to see here in Nigeria. We should, have a body that takes care of political issues, we do our own personally. We do our talk individually. But imagine where we have a body that is recognized for, political comments and all. I think that, we'll probably then would have our government, do more better, when it comes to calling them out about some of the things they're doing wrong. Yeah,
it's a good initiative. But like I always like to say, sometimes we want new solutions to things, to problems, impending problems. But if we look thoroughly at the system and how it's meant to be, there are already bodies that that attend to things like this. So how are we sure that a new body, I'm bringing it down to the Nigerian context, we know would eventually do what is required? Because we have bodies that are meant to even do this. We have checks and balances that should be across all tiers of government, but we see a lot of, politics happen across these spaces. So many times, we should not always be so concerned with new solutions, new initiatives, something new in a pink box, like I always say, like you're unwrapping one new solution. If you can go back to what you already have that is meant to sort that and work it out to do what it ought to do, things will definitely be better, honestly. Let's see what the Punch has to say. Let me start with the Guardian first, pardon me. The major headline reads, "Publish or perish. 97% of public varsities default in online visibility and transparency order. PDP chides AGF as Osun government sues federal government for stopping council's allocation. 16 years after meltdown, NGX market cap surges by 34.75%. 2027, PDP's internal crisis worsen as Wike George trade words. Natasha's denial of sexual harassment allegation against me, an afterthought, says Omokri. Over 950 Southeast locations occupied by bandits, herdsmen, and kidnappers. Above the major headline, we see Ribadu's warning against ransom payment to kidnappers. NAF strike kills 20 bandits, 5 vigilantes in Zamfara. Amnesty International demands probe. And the last story is on Mokwa flood. Over 1,000 still missing, 200 bodies recovered. I did see the video of this particular flood incident, and my God, sometimes we are able to talk about news like this, and maybe not cry when saying this, maybe because we don't have the first-hand experience to this, but it was a gory sight to behold, people losing their lives as a result of flood. Like, the water was sweeping people away to their death. And that's a terrible thing. I'm really hoping that these are initiatives, these are things that will inspire people to want to have humanity, to have humanness, pardon me, towards, ensuring that we're doing what is necessary at each point. Today's conversation is about a new bill that is supposed to be proposed. And, over time on this table, we have seen a number of bills. I think the legislators, they are getting very busy with proposing bills. Not bad, because we need policies that will drive change. But if you look around, if you look at some pressing things in your community, that should inspire you to direct your change. Do you understand what I'm saying? Towards that that area. I mean, looking at lives being lost is a very terrible thing. But the Guardian also has another very interesting story, a sequel, a follow-up to all of our conversation about the WAEC incident and everything. So he's saying here that WAEC faces 100 billion lawsuit. Let me read the story for you guys, which you will really be amazed. Lagos-based lawyer and human rights activist Evans Ufeli has dragged the West African Examination Council and the Minister of Education before the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos, seeking redress for what he described as the gross violation of the fundamental right of Nigerian students during the conduct of the 2025 examination. So I would head to some of the things that are very major, so as not to waste our time. It says the originating motion brought pursuant to sections 33, 34, 35, 36, and 46 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, as well as relevant provisions of the Child Rights Act and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, seek a series of far-reaching judicial interventions. These include an order compelling the authorities to conduct a receipt of all affected exams under appropriate condition and to pay 100 billion naira in damages for the trauma and rights violations suffered by the student. In his application, Ufeli alleges that thousands of students were forced to sit for exams in unsafe, dimly lit and hazardous environments, often without adequate lighting or security. And what do you think about this whole... I'm happy. Let me not use the word happy. That will sound very funny, but it's interesting. Let me use the word interesting, that people want to bring them to books. Like, we shouldn't have stories that are just swept under the carpet. Something quite gory, something quite unheard of happened with this examination that just passed. We heard of the one that happened in Taraba, where a facility almost collapsed and students almost lost their lives, right? And then the whole harsh condition to which they sat. So now, this particular human rights lawyer has, decided to hold WAEC responsible for this, and the fine, the lawsuit that we're seeing here is 100 billion naira. I didn't get the whole details that I wanted to get on the Punch, because my question now would be, okay, who would this 100 billion naira go to? Is it the student, or these bodies themselves that don't even have the money for the proper infrastructure? Do you understand? I mean, if we've heard of glitches, talking about UTME now. So sometimes you might want to blame the fact that there's no much funds to even help with this infrastructure. So who is the 100 billion going to exactly? Is it to the Ministry of Education to ensure that, pay attention to me now, to ensure that maybe in further, I mean, going on henceforth, we're going to have seamless environment or seamless examination process for every student. So, or is it going to go to the student that were affected? Do you understand? Like the student that sat in those places, or is it going to go to him as the one that is taking them for the lawsuit? So a lot of questions, and I'm wondering, I feel it's even necessary to have to bring them to books, to have to allow them answer questions.
Yes.
It's really, really sad.
Because it doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. Just when I thought I'm the only person that was angry that day, I really love this move, to be honest. Tell me how children are using candle to write exam. What happened to the next day?
From their phones.
Like, I'm confused. And again, this is 2025. We're supposed to don't pass some certain things for this country. If you guys say we are actually developing. No, to be honest. There's some things that would have... come on now.
Very interesting. So that's all. We want to see how that story unfolds, who gets the 100 billion naira, and what really happens to JAM coming up from now. We have to quickly wrap up our session, but I have to take some headlines on the Punch paper. There's one here that says Wike Tinubu endorsement spark opposition firestorm. Presidency moves to settle 2 trillion naira power debt. Reps grill WAEC chiefs over exam disruptions. Judiciary workers strike ground court. Federal government estimates 880 billion yearly for road maintenance. And now, the one that really caught my attention is on this federal government estimate or budget for road maintenance, across board. And this particular budget is screaming expensive. It's screaming a whole lot. And honestly, I believe that this money are actually disbursed, in that sense, to the appropriate bodies that are meant to carry out this. But we have seen over time, if there's anywhere you want to catch, what they call this, an embezzlement happening, it will be in road construction. What do I mean by that? We've seen many times where particular money will be given to a particular local government or some contractors to do roads in certain areas, and they use substandard, do you understand, equipment, substandard materials to carry out this project. They will put out the billboard and make it look like something really is going on here. But come back in 2-3 months, those roads are bad again. So if you are going to pump this kind of money, I don't have a problem with the budget that have been drawn. Do you understand? I don't want to say expensive. Okay, if this money is going to be pumped, let it be so that there's monitoring on the quality of product and the quality of services that are being offered. So we don't have to keep wasting money. So that means there will be thorough search, there will be thorough scrutiny. Anybody that will be given the project, let us monitor. I know we as Nigerians, we like to always make money out of anything. It's not for projects like this, honestly. That's all I have to say. I wish I could say more about this, but our guest is waiting for us. Today's conversation is on the topic, reps propose 7-year jail term for workplace bribery. That's interesting. And we have a lawyer who will be joining us to open this up for us. So please stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
I describe myself as a polyhumanitarian, someone who believes politics should be rooted in love for country and empathy for its people. I'm thrilled to introduce to you Politics Uncensored, a show dedicated to tackling the political challenges that matter most to Nigerians. This is more than just a show. It's a space for honest, unfiltered conversations about the issues that shape our nation. From policy reforms to elections, leadership tussles to governance at all levels, and the overall political landscape in Nigeria. We will dive deep into how politics is impacting our everyday lives. So join me on this journey as we challenge the status quo, spark dialogue, and work together to build a brighter future for Nigeria. Let's make our voices heard and drive the change we deserve.
Welcome back. So our topic for today, the hot topic that has our time and attention at this moment, is on reps proposing 7-year jail term for workplace bribery. In recent times, the Nigerian House of Representatives has intensified efforts to sanitize the country's public and private sectors through a series of legislative proposals. One of the latest is a bill seeking a 7-year jail term and heavy fines for workplace bribery, targeting both those who offer and receive bribes in context. This bill seeks to address unethical practices such as payment for job placement, promotion manipulation, favoritism based on kickbacks, and the commodification of recruitment processes, particularly in government ministries, parastatals, and even private organizations. It follows a growing public outcry over the widespread practice of buying jobs, a phenomenon that not only denies qualified Nigerians fair opportunities, but also entrenches corruption and mediocrity in institutions. Notably, this bill aligns with previous attempts by the legislature to promote accountability, such as proposal for compulsory voting, election transparency reforms, and anti-corruption legislation. But will this new push create the deterrent effect it promises, or is it just another proposal in the pile? And joining us today to unpack this and its legal implication is Barrister Justice Uegbu, the legal practitioner and policy analyst. Together, we're going to explore the intent, enforceability, and broader impact of this bill on workplace culture and justice. Good morning, Barrister Justice.
Good morning. It is my pleasure once more.
Same here. I'm so happy to see you on our screens again, joining us for another very insightful conversation. So to begin with, how serious is the problem of workplace bribery in Nigeria today, and how does it manifest across sectors, seeing the context and the need to establish this bill, actually?
Well, truly speaking, it's unfortunate, and it has been a mustard seed in Nigeria that has grown uncontrollable, both at the private sector and the public sector. And in fact, to be emphatic, I will tell you that it's even worse in the public sector. There's no two ways about it. To tell ourselves the truth. It's so unfortunate. But we should always address the root cause of a problem, not only addressing it from the middle or the periphery. And what is the root cause of this problem? Because there are no jobs in Nigeria. There's no employment. People, so the little one, they always advertise. People now want to grab it by all means. And even the people that say they want to offer it, use it as an advantage also to exploit people. So that, okay, for example, you see that you have a vacancy for 10, let's say 10 vacancy in a ministry or in a sector in government, and people now come, you tell them to go and download or buy forms, and they buy these forms. And you sell forms up to 1,000, 5,000, but at the end of the day, you're taking only 10 people. Is there sincerity of purpose in that? You remember the time we had the immigration recruitment exercise, that even some people, there was a staff fee, and they were meant to pay, was it not about 1,000 or 2,000 to get the form? So what are we saying?
Thank you so much, Barrister. I like how you started with the fact that, you know, it's not enough to just take care of a problem, surface level. You need to start from the root itself, which is, I mean, one of the reasons why many people, do all of this bribery in workplaces is because of there's no job, right, in Nigeria. So I want to ask, what do you think of the 7-year jail term? Do you think it's too harsh? Do you think it's okay for the crime, right? And do you think this punishment can actually curb bribery in the workplace?
Well, if there is sincerity of purpose, it will go a long way. But my problem is that there are no sincerity of purpose in this country. That is my problem. Even the reps even the legislators that are coming up with this bill, are they sincere themselves? That is the
Amen.
problem we have in this country. It's not just making a law, bringing up a bill, or making a rule. The problem is that are we sincere in what we are doing? The governments, are they sincere? The people, you see, let me tell you, violation of laws in this country are even more perpetrated by people in government. So you see, the only thing that they only want to tell Nigerians what they want to hear. That is just the thing.
That's really a very good way to land this. But I want to even try to understand this particular bill that they want to propose, because just a few minutes ago, Godfrey and I were saying that sometimes we just want to paint new solutions to things. So let's start from a legal standpoint. What does the current Nigerian law say about bribery in employment or recruitment? So I want to know if this bill is filling a gap or it's just duplicating existing laws.
Is when you're talking about bribery. Bribery is corruption. And like I keep on telling people in Nigeria, as a human rights lawyer, we keep on accepting this and saying this. In the first place, ask yourself a question. In Nigeria, have we even criminalized corruption? And the answer is no. Until when we criminalize corruption and make it a capital offense, some of us have thought that we should make corruption a capital offense. And that is why you see a country like China, Japan, and all the rest, they are doing well. Because there are certain things you do, because corruption is a capital offense. And if you know that you involve yourself in corruption, bribery is part of corruption. And if you know that you involve yourself in corruption, you either be sentenced to death or one other thing, or for life. So we're just joking as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
So let's talk about, because I believe that, for this, for the court proceeding to actually take place, right, there must be a whistleblower that must have said, spoken to the authorities that, oh, this person is asking for bribe and all of that. So I want to ask, what's the law, what's the legal standpoint, in protecting that individual? Because I am very sure, just like you said, it's not just in the private sector alone. Even in the public sector is there, and it's, it's much favoritism, nepotism. We see, all of those things play out. So I want to understand what the legal standpoint is for such person, that's the whistleblowers, because we know how it is here in Nigeria. You talk one, they send you out. And you know what I mean by send you out.
We are Nigerians and we know what is happening. You remember the event of whistleblower. Okay. Many people have gone to jail. Many people have gone away because they were whistleblowers. You don't touch a sacred cow in Nigeria. That is the problem. How can you now go and the whistleblow according to the name that a minister is doing so thing? You are gone. You're a gunner. That's why I say that the major problem we have in Nigeria is lack of sincerity of purpose. And again, the institutions are not working. Because if the institutions are working, it doesn't matter who is the minister, who is the president, who is the governor, or whatever. It's the institution that will fight you and not individual. We don't need whistleblower. We don't need individual. What we need is to make sure that the institutions are rekindled, they are working again. The institutions will fight you and not individuals. So if you're expecting that a whistleblower will come and report, it will not happen. So that is why at the end of the day, this proposed law will never go neither here nor here.
That's a very heavy claim from you, barrister. So that means you don't even see headway from this particular law that is about to...
I don't. Because if for example, little, it works in the private sector. Private sector is not the problem. Where we have a major problem in the public sector, the ministry is the parastatal, not the private sector.
All right, but maybe in their defense, the essence of laws like this is actually to put some bit of balance and check. Because sometimes, even though we know politics goes into all of these things, laws like this can create the necessary fear, at least to reduce the incessant bribery and corruption that we see in these public sectors. So I want to believe that it's something that maybe we should not just throw away, but see how it can actually bring out, proper fruit. And let us look at mechanisms that we need to put in place to ensure fair investigation and prosecution under this law, especially when the accused could be senior officials or government insiders.
Can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
How many investigations or prosecutions being handled by EFCC against high-placed people in Nigeria, especially the officials and government officials that they are concluded? Tell us. So how do you think that this one will be? Let's be realistic to ourselves. And you're talking about checks and balances. We have killed the theory of separation of power in this country. That is the problem we're having. The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary that are supposed to be watchdogs to each other, they have killed it. So who is going to watch each other? Who is watching each other?
If we take this...
And everything you push it back to the individual, everything you push it back to the citizen. And that is why we're having problems. The citizen takes everything. The irresponsibility of the government, the citizen takes it. The inefficiency of the government, the citizen takes it. Everything the citizen. Who is deceiving who?
So I like how you said that this particular, proposal from the National Assembly, you don't see a headway there. So if at all that, they want to, for it to have a headway or for you now to see a headway, what practical steps do you think the National Assembly should put in place to ensure that, this particular law, bill, becomes law?
What we should do is to sanitize the system. Sanitization of the system. Have you forgotten that we have the code of conduct? Have you forgotten?
No, I haven't.
The code of conduct, how far has it gone to even checkmate government officials and people working in the private sector? Because that body was established to checkmate them, to regulate them, in order to make sure that they conform with the rules and regulations of the service. But to what extent has it been kept? How many officials have you had that code of conduct body has tried and convicted, even when the evidence are very clear and glaring? So as far as I'm concerned, what we need in Nigeria, let me go back to what I said again, sincerity of purpose. And it's only the sincerity of purpose that can sanitize the system. If we have a governor in the state who has sincerity of purpose and who knows what he's doing and who is ready to discharge his duties without fear of favor, others will follow suit. Okay, I don't know. You saw what happened in Ghana, was it just yesterday or a few days ago, where the president brought up the issue of code of conduct for ministers and all the rest. He started with himself. By implication, he's using himself as an example, and it happened in Nigeria. That is the problem. So if the people, your subordinates, see that you as the head man, you as the president, you as the governor, you as the chairman, that you're doing the right thing and you're not ready to tolerate any irregularity, everything will take shape.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Justice. We'll have to take a short break now. When we return, we'll see if we can open more about this conversation with you, Barrister Justice. So please stay with us, our viewers. We'll be right back shortly.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I know see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, welcome back to our viewers, and thank you for sticking with us so far. Our topic today is to explore the new bill that is supposed to be proposed by the reps as regards jail term and a 5 million fine for people involved in bribery and corruption in workplaces. And we've been joined by Barrister Justice, who has really made it very clear that he doesn't see this particular bill making headways because of, the politics that really happen in these sectors, and how that many times, the legislatures just give Nigerians things that they think they need to hear. Barrister Justice, right? Still have you here with us.
Thank you very much.
Barrister Justice, are you still with us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I want to go back to how this conversation started. There was something you really mentioned that was very outstanding. And you said that the reason why we even see some of this bribery and corruption happen, on large scale across different sectors, public and private sectors, because of unemployment issue. So many times people just want to find a way to just even get into these companies and, be part of this. A question just came to my mind now, but I'll hold it first and then address something else. So since we see that many of these citizens or people who want these employment options sometimes are handicapped and they're desperate, that's why they go, for options of, bring 50K, I'll give you the job. So do you think that this law should also not focus on the givers or the receivers of the bribe, but also the givers? That is, do you think that this law is going to cut across both those that are giving the bribes and receiving the bribes?
You see, we must be realistic in life with whatever we do and tell ourselves the truth. Nigerians want to work. It's just like when former president of our country, President Muhammad Buhari, said that the youths are this. I laugh, but it's not true. Every Nigerian wants to work. And then why are Nigerian youths and young adults always running abroad? It's because they know that once they get there, they will see a job. They will see something to do. But here, somebody will go to school, even people do not go to school, you graduate, you stay for years, there's no job. And you now see somebody who said, bring 50,000, bring 100,000, I will give you a job. And you say you will not do it. You will do it, my dear. Let's be realistic about that. Because you don't want to continue staying at home. Now the government has forgotten about you. Whether you exist or not, the government doesn't even want to know. And you must one way or the other make ends to meet. So it's not a matter of whether the person giving bribe is also guilty. Yes, the rule of bribery or the law of bribery is that the person who is receiving and the person who is giving, all they are guilty. But the issue there is this. What you should be looking at is the intention. And that is why in law, especially in criminal law, the law looks at intention and the act. That is actus mens rea and actus reus. What do you want to achieve? Because you're handicapped, you cannot do anything, and you need this job. And somebody said, give me 50,000, I will give you this job. So if you have it, you will offer. Some people go as far as borrowing money to pay.
With the hope that when they start getting salaries, they'll pay back.
Yeah. So
yeah, with the hope that when they start getting salaries, they will pay back.
So let's talk about.
So is it
okay? Go on, sir. Are you with us, Barrister?
Okay, I think we lost him very briefly. Or is he back? Barrister Justice, are you back? All right, you can ask your question, Gosriti.
Okay, so I wanted to say, let's start with curbing the this bribery, right? And we've only stated one, which is, the fact that there's no job, unemployment and all. But I still believe that there are other things, and there's something he has been mentioning repeatedly, which is that sincerity of purpose. And I would like us to, talk about how realistic it is, given that every individual here in Nigeria, everybody wants, all man for himself. Let me use that word that we use loosely on the streets, Everybody is always concerned about themselves first. So how do you think we can even start, ensuring that there's sincerity? How do we go about it? Because to be honest, you have said, it's important that, we are sincere to ourselves. Another person will say we are sincere to ourselves. But at the end of the day, who are exactly is causing all of these things? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So each and every one of us will still be the one to say, we are for this thing, we are against this, we are against this. But we still see these things persist. Why?
It takes one person to bring a change, a positive and a sincere change. I have said it before. For example, let me use a governor. If a governor gets into office and call all his cabinet members, all the heads of parastatals, all the farm sets, commissioners and all that things, and tell them, I will not tolerate this, I will not tolerate this, I will not tolerate this. Everybody is being watched. And they see the governor doing his own bit with sincerity of purpose and also with integrity, showing people what he is doing, seeking for opinions before you do something. What you call public opinion. Every person working with you will know that you're not for a child's play, and they will definitely work with you and do the need. That is what I call what I call sincerity of purpose. And not when you come and give rules and give orders, you go and do another thing. That means just follow my word, don't follow my action. So people will not take you serious. But it's a very simple thing. It takes one person to bring up the thing.
I hear you, Barrister, right? But someone is texting me right now and telling me that there's that point that even when you say you want to change, you want people to change and all of that, they will take you out. There's also that tendency, don't you think so? That's why this word, if you cannot beat them, join them.
Yeah, let me come in there. For example, let me also use the governor of a state as an example. If a governor comes in and puts up rules that will make sure that smooth running of the government, and he discovers that one or two persons are falling prey, what do? You remove them. Because the moment you remove them, others will learn. It will serve as a deterrent to other people. They're not. You see, let me tell you, my people, to get this country, going well is very easy. But the problem is this: the person who said he wants to do it, is he sincere himself? That is the problem. We talk about corruption. Let me even say what is corruption?
So much, Barrister
Corruption
Justice.
has been defined by Black's Law Dictionary as any dishonest conduct. Even there you are sitting now in your office. If you're dishonest in your conduct, you are corrupt.
Yes,
and it's that dishonest conduct that brings about stealing, brings about bribery, brings about irregularities and everything. That dishonest conduct. Because you must have perceived it in your mind before you bring it out.
Absolutely, Barrister
A
Justice.
governor wants to issue a contract. A governor wants to issue a contract, and he knows that that contract will be like 15 billion, and the governor will be giving it for 100 billion. Is he sincere himself?
No, it's not.
He's
Because
not.
he's giving it to his brother or his relation or his friend. Is he not worse than the people working in the office?
Absolutely. There's something I'm going to take home with me based on what you have said today. And you said that to actually run Nigeria and to be where we want to be, it's easy, but it takes sincere people who have the nation at heart to actually achieve this. And this is where we wrap up our conversation with you, Barrister Justice. Thank you for your input, for always having lively, conversations with us every time. So I'll bring the conversation now to God's beauty, because I'm sure, during the course of our conversation with Barrister Justice, a lot of things were on your mind. Before I continue, let me read a comment that we have from Kiki. Hi, Kiki, from wherever you are. She says here that this is allegedly very common in FIRS, where people pay, yes, to get a position with promises to get it back. Very, very amazing. So when I looked at this law firstly, and I was trying to read about it, I was hoping that I would see, I don't know if it was really highlighted there, or maybe I just, skipped it. Because in workplaces, the corruption and bribery that happens many times is not only monetarily, there's also the sexual, corruption. Sometimes it's not even to get the job. Sometimes you've even gotten the job. It's to now
sustain the job.
To sustain the job. And we see it happen in let me use the media sector, for example. We can see it happen we've heard stories. I watched a particular podcast where a known, renowned media personality now had to say that during our early days, she faced sexual assault from a respected media professional as well. So I'm using a field that is very common to us. So this might not be money now. There's no exchange of money, right? But there was maybe sexual, inclination in that sense. And I'm wondering, with this law also attack things like this? Let's even go back to the whole Senator Natasha's story and how we've seen that sexual allegation in Nigeria today, you need to really have your strong points if you want to make headway. Oh, we still have Barrister with us. Oh. All right, so like I was saying, if this law should not just be one-sided, it should apply to many areas. And I was also thinking about it. And I know Barrister has said that this law might not have headway, but let's even imagine that they don't even look at the whole 360 before they go about implementing this law, and this law is really implemented. How is it really going to be enforced? How would they have their eyes across different sectors? I mean, are the people receiving the bribes or people giving the bribes going to be the ones to call a helpline and say, oh, I've caught someone in our office doing so? Knowing fully well that sometimes when you, report your organization in that sense, that's bridging loyalty, that's putting your organization in the wrong, So sometimes there will be cover-ups in many areas. This law looks like a solution in that sense, something that could help curb bribery and corruption. But what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing from it is that it's a long shot. It's going to take a whole lot of intentionality and deliberation to ensure that the criminals are actually put to book. Because we know how Nigerians can any situation out. Do you understand? So what do you think about this before we wrap up this show?
So I think it's an interesting one.
Like many other views.
Just exactly, because I really don't know what it is with, the National Assembly this year. They have been a very, very, very wonderful ones. Starting from the whole, I think, increasement of states down to, we had surrogacy last week. We had the voters, I think that should be last
compulsory
week.
Compulsory voting.
So I really don't know. I think that, the National Assembly are at work. They are on a mission. And this mission is we are saying it is clear. It's very obvious, So on this one, I think it's just another one in the mission, I just feel like for anything to actually work, there should be intentionality. There need to be, transparency at its peak. speak, right, we need to understand where exactly, like you said, we understand what it's you know, what it's going to help, you know, prevent, you know, bribery and all of that. But how exactly are you ensuring that, you know, it's going to work? I mean, we need to see it. And to be honest, just like I was telling the barrister, for laws like this, he actually needs a whistleblower. Yes, now, because one person needs to go and tell the authority that this person is collecting bribe or is asking us for sexual...
from that organization? Or
That's
the
we don't
person
know.
be the person that gave the bribe?
Exactly, that's we don't know. But these are questions that, you know, we are asking. We need to now understand it. You get. Then how sure are we that this whistleblower is protected? To be honest, that's what I am even more concerned about. Because I don't think this law would be very effective until we have somebody, you know, come out to say, you know, come out to say that, oh, this person is collecting or this person, you know, reporting in that sense. So until that takes place, then we'll not know what laws or what the, you know, what the legal standpoint is for such, you know, such a person. We've seen people that whistleblowers that we have here in Nigeria that's come out to say some things on political aspect and all, and we see how we ended for them. So I mean, I'm always very cautious of what, you know, what you come out to say. It's one thing to have this kind of law, it's sparkling, it's neat, it's shining, it's looking great, but then how sure are we that if you know, start working, there will be the right things to be put on point, like this, like the protection of the whistleblowers, ensuring that. And I've also seen, I mean, you know, concerning this story, right, on social media, some people think that the 7 years, you know, is too much. Some say it's too harsh. Some say it's okay. I want to even ask, what do you think about the 7 years? Do you think it's okay? I don't know.
For those saying it's too much, that means you are somehow endorsing
them,
bribery
right?
and corruption. Well, I'm not looking at the
7 years.
The how would I call it now? The harshness
penalty
of the penalty. I'm looking at the fact that there's actually a penalty that is being carried out for people who are defaulting. So whether it's 10 or 15 or 20 years, people that say it's too much and it's too little, I need to suspect those kind of people. Maybe there are people that are actually involved in all of this. So my own thought now is, which sector do you think is going to be at the forefront of being caught when it comes to this? Do you think private sectors or public sectors? I think public sectors will find their way out. To be honest, because this is not the first time they are doing it. They are always doing it. Private sectors firstly. Do you understand? So I think, to be honest, I think it's the private sectors, to be honest, and I think they'll be the ones to even face the weight of the situation, than public sector, because like he already said. I think this is something that we already know, that in the public sector we get to see it play out more. I mean, just like Kiki even said in her comments. You see the Federal Inland Revenue Service, that's the tax people. There are lots of things going down there. Let's not talk is allegedly, but that you get the point. That don't normally happen. I like that. Interesting. But yeah, we see all of these things play out. But I just hope that I believe that the National Assembly, they know what they are doing, and I'm very sure they'll put certain steps to ensure that, both the receiver and the giver, everybody is, apprehended, and, the law takes its course. I guess that's very
all I have
sadly,
to say.
because if the giver is apprehended, the giver is one desperate person that just needed to work and make ends meet. So there's a lot of emotions to this law, but I hope that it makes headway and the right way. All right, this is where we wrap up our conversation today. Thank you, Barrister Justice, for joining us. Thank you to our viewers for always being part of us. Thank you to our 6K subscribers plus on Upgrade TV. Till tomorrow again, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. This is Ways Breakfast. Have a great day.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Osayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?